One Piece is one of the most popular animes in the world, even one of the most popular franchises in the world. From countless movies, games, shows, plushies, good and bad merch, there's no denying the worldwide impact that One Piece has had. As someone who's been watching anime and reading manga for years, I've heard so much about it. The good, the bad, and the awful, but could never give my own opinion because I've never seen it. My attention span is dog shit, so the length of the series was always the big turnoff for me. But finally, after years of hearing and seeing things about it, I decided to finally bite the bullet, so at the start of this summer, I sat down and began to watch the show. After I finished the East Blue, I decided that I wanted to start a series on my YouTube, talking about my honest opinions on the show as someone starting the show recently with no prior bias. My plan is to make review videos and to talk about the different segments of the show, but don't worry, I'm not just going to be retelling the story, that would be pretty fucking boring. So I'm going to break each review video down into these 4 parts. Story, design, pacing, and my overall thoughts. I'll have everything split up and labeled down below in that little part. Before we get started, this is my first video on this channel, so if you guys like this kind of content, and there's going to be more content from the review videos, from the different arcs, and also just different videos talking about games, anime, whatever. So if you guys want to see that, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. Yeah, I know what I just said. I'm not just going to be retelling the story. That would be pretty fucking boring. And I'm not, trust me. One of the only things I knew when going into One Piece is that the show was just about pirates that were looking for treasure. I remember hearing someone compare One Piece to Pirates of the Caribbean, which are movies that I like, so that's the kind of theme and kind of story I was expecting while going into the show. That was not what it was. But don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing, it just is. So if you're watching this video and thinking about starting One Piece just like me, just know that it's not really that kind of piratey kind of show. One Piece is not just a pirate anime, and while of course it does have aspects of different pirate things and different aspects of that genre, it is so much more than that. Even so early on into the series, the show makes itself clear that it's not just about one pirate fighting another pirate for booty and fighting each other and stealing treasure and that's it. One example where One Piece does this that I really like is the way that it shows the different personalities and moral decisions of every single pirate and character in the show. Pirates are always represented in the media as these ruthless, mean freaks that just kill and are dirty and bad. In One Piece, each pirate crew has a different set of morals, ethics, and goals that each one of them set out to achieve and do. And these morals and goals are always different from every other crew. The main crew, the Straw Hats, always built connections and built trust with the different people that they met throughout the entire series, showing that pirates are people as well, and not just stupid killers. Even pirates from different crews and different areas build connections with other pirates, which to me is one of the most accurate representation of pirates that is in modern day media, which is funny coming from a show like this. For all the people saying that One Piece only gets good on episode 500 and whatever, they are very wrong. Now in terms of animation, that could be true, but I'll talk about that later. Story-wise, I really started to enjoy One Piece in the Syrup Village arc, which is 9 episodes into the entire series. 9 episodes in. So if that was a factor for you starting to watch One Piece, ignore the haters and just watch the show and see if you like it yourself. Overall, for the story, I wasn't really expecting much. What I got was a shameful slap in the face, along with a story about adventure, building connections, and engaging fights with the entire crew. Speaking of the crew, let's talk about the... I've always loved shonen, and I know you guys are rushing to the comments right now to run your little mouths about how that's basic and not deep enough and doesn't tell the true meaning of anime. But just stop. For me, I don't really watch anime or manga for the deep stories and heartfelt mushy stuff. I watch it for cool magic and power systems and all that kind of stuff. And I'm glad to say that One Piece has filled both of these categories for me and scratched the itch of fun fights with also a fun and engaging story. The world is so vibrant and so fun, and it's honestly so refreshing from the shows that have been popular these days. Now, yes, at the beginning, the animation is a little bit choppy with that nostalgic 90s vibe. And honestly, I wonder why that is. I don't really know. But for me, I think that the animation honestly adds more charm to the show, as that kind of style fits better with the goofy and fun-themed nature of that show. If that's not your kind of cup of tea, don't worry, it wasn't mine either. So honestly, just trust me and give it a try, because once you see it, you'll understand that the animation isn't that bad at all and does not take away from the plot or the fun of the show. Also, side note, I also think it's funny that the people who hate on the earlier One Piece animations are the same people who always glaze Evangelion, when this is the kind of show and movie that you guys say is so amazing. Now, the overall cast is awesome, and each character provides its own interesting, unique take and approach to the important tropes of the show that need to be added to make it feel connected and full, if that makes any sense at all. From the captain and MC of the show, Luffy, his goofy and lighthearted personality that makes it easy for new people to join his crew, to the determined nature of the swordsman Zoro, from the pompous yet striving liar that is Usopp, to the even bigger liar, navigator, Nami, or even the loyal loner, Sanji. It's nice to see such contrasting personalities mixed together and have one ultimate goal of helping each other out and fighting for what's right. The villains are menacing and unique, and I'm always excited to see the fights and what kind of different powers they bring. One of the biggest things that convinced me to watch One Piece was the vibe that I got when watching clips of it, and I'm so happy to say that that vibe flows all throughout the show and is so enjoyable just to sit down and watch. But that vibe might not be enough to convince everyone to watch the show, so let's talk about the biggest turnoff for most people when it comes to the show. This topic is so frequently brought up when talking about whether or not to watch One Piece, and it's so relevant in any conversation that it would feel wrong not to talk about it. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The pacing is not that good, especially when it's held to modern standards, but I'll talk about that in a second. The filter can be pretty annoying, and I was actually pretty worried about that. I considered using One Pace, but between my lazy ass trying to figure out the whole torrent system to seeing the whole fandom fight over whether it ruined the show or not, I decided just to kick it to the curb and watch the actual show. Although I would say I highly recommend searching for a filler list, which is what I did. It helps skip a lot of the unnecessary stuff, and if you're trying to get through it fast, that's what I did, and that's what you can do. But if you don't want to, you can obviously watch it. I have a good filler list that I'll link down below, but it's got everything. It tells you what you need to watch, what you don't need to watch, and what certain seconds and minutes do save forward in different shows that are half filler. And if you're worried about saving time, obviously use the filler list. But when I got myself deeper into the show and started enjoying it, I found like myself flying through the shows and the episodes. You honestly start to forget that the show is so long and just start to enthrall yourself in the story. For me, honestly, the pacing hasn't been that bad. So we'll see what happens in the future. I think one thing you need to understand when starting the show is that it is older. So the animation and the release schedules is what was typical around that time, and so it's not as good as your modern day stuff, which are seasons and chapters getting pumped out as quick as possible as some kind of month. Don't let your broken attention span ruin the show for you, and if you start to grow weary and get bored of it, just thug it out just for a few episodes, or take a break, come back, and you'll see that you'll be right back on track. Don't let the pacing of the show dissuade you from watching the show, but accept it as a part of the show. But if the pacing is such a big problem and you can't even possibly bear to look past it or use any of the advice or tips I just gave you, they are reanimating the show in a year or two, so if you do want to wait for that, you can do that. But who knows, maybe by the time that comes out, the One Piece will already be announced and it'll be spoiled. Guess we'll never know. Guess you have to watch it right now. Okay, so here we are, 60 or so episodes in. What are my overall thoughts? To make this easier for me and you, let's go over the pros and cons. Pros: great story, unique characters, refreshingly creative world, engaging fights. Cons: poor pacing, choppy animation, Usopp's bitch ass, and unnecessary filler. Overall, so far in this first saga, the East Blue, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see how the show evolves, and hopefully my pros will continue to grow and my cons will start to decrease. Also, Captain Kuro is the frickin' GOAT, and he's underrated. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've made it all the way here, thank you so much, because this video has taken a while to make. So if you liked it and want to see the next thing I post, do all the corny interaction stuff so I can get the video to a bunch more people. But yeah, have a great day and catch y'all later.